The Devil and Johnie Walker by Cooper Anderson. Everyone's got a story, I'd say. Working at the Eden, I've heard most of them. It comes with the territory of being a landlord. I pour the drinks, and in exchange, people tell me all sorts of things. Husbands ran off with the milkman, dog was kidnapped and held for ransom, or, my personal favourite, artificial legs stolen by a roaming gang of alligators. I've heard it all. There's just something inherently trustworthy about a stranger handing you a frothy lager that makes you want to spill your secrets. That doesn't mean you should, especially not in the Eden. Despite my run-ins with the strange and tragic creatures that darken my door, I enjoy the work, and I bloody well should, being the owner and all. I inherited the place from my father nearly 8 years ago, God rest his soul. I've got a picture of him from when he first opened up hanging on the back wall next to the Help Wanted poster. My fry cook up and joined the Royal Navy. Not the Royal Navy you're thinking of, mind you, and I've been desperate for a pair of hands on the grill ever since. In the photo, my dad's hair is all shaggy and mousy brown, not white and thin like it was in his final days. He's got a well-groomed, decade-appropriate handlebar mustache and a smile that would rosy the cheeks of even the most frigid of housewives. People say I look like him, but I don't see it. Besides, I'm older now than he was when the picture was taken. He used to tell me things, my father. Little shows of wisdom that he acquired over a lifetime of serving brews. Things like how to never bribe a health inspector with less than £300, or which booze works best for disinfecting a wound made by an oyster shucker. You know, basic bartender things. He had a keen eye for business as well. My father knew that the best place to build a pub was on the east end of London. That's how we ended up in Whitechapel. Never a shortage of poor souls in need of a drink in Whitechapel, he used to say. He's been right so far. It's never slow on a Friday night in the Eden. You get used to people working in a pub. See, they rely on their landlords, people. We're the sympathetic ear that listens, the shoulders to cry on. We are therapists by trade and pharmacists by profession. After all, bartending is a public service by its very nature. Cheaper than real therapy, too. The best example of this happened a few years back. I remember it being a perfectly ordinary Wednesday night. The regulars were chatting away about something or other, and Chelsea was playing Man City on the telly. Then this old man in an ancient bomber jacket walks up to the bar. He tells me he wants the best scotch in the house, runs a hand through his silver white hair, and props himself on the stool opposite me. We've got Johnnie Walker Blue, I tell him. He says that'll be fine, and pulls out 4 very new, very crisp £50 notes.
Keep the change, but leave the bottle.
His voice was deeper than I'd expected. I hold the notes up to the light and make sure they're real. People who come to the Eden don't carry £50 notes. At least not for very long, anyway. I stash the notes under the self-locking till before anyone notices. I hand the old man a bottle with a blue ribbon drawn on the label and a fairly clean glass. What's the occasion? I ask. Normally I wouldn't. Asking questions in the Eden's a bit like slathering your hand in honey and sticking it into an anthill, but the guy seemed harmless enough.
I'm just retired.
Says the old man.
Picked up my severance package today.
He says this as if he's just been given 3 months left to live. His accent isn't a typical London accent either. It's too posh to be from Whitechapel. He hits his T's like an American, but that's not quite it. He's not Australian, or Kiwi either, but it's close. South Africa, maybe? Either way, he's from the Empire and his money's British enough, so I stopped trying to guess. Isn't retirement a good thing? I ask. What time for fishing, or golf, or whatever it is that retired folks like to do? He twists the cap off the Johnnie Walker and pours himself 3 fingers worth.
Normally, yes, but it is a forced retirement.
He holds the glass up to me and says something that sounds like
L'chaim.
only it comes out all fuzzy like he's saying it through an old radio. But a good bartender always knows a cheers when he hears it, and I nod out of respect. He drinks half the glass in a single sloosh and lets out a sigh.
I loved my job.
He says as if he's in mourning.
It's who I am, or was, I guess. It was tailor-made for me, and I was good at it too, like really good at it. And now that I'm out, what am I, you know?
Not really. I've worked here most of my life. This is true. My father opened up the Eden back in 1984, the year I was born. I muddled about in school for a while, getting into trouble every so often, pulling fire alarms, bunking off on Fridays, you know, typical kid stuff. I got expelled my 3rd year at St. James's Correctional School for troubled teens for lighting a rubbish bin on fire to get out of a quiz. After that, I decided my academic career had come to an end and that I'd be better off joining the family business. Mum wasn't too happy about it, of course, but she eventually got used to the idea and liked having the extra pair of hands to help out in the back. Not that she'd ever admit it. What line of work were you in, if you don't mind me asking? I reminded myself that questions like these are dangerous, but God help me, I was curious.
I was the devil.
He says before taking a sip from his glass. Sorry, sounded like you said you were the devil.
That's right. The devil. Satan, Lucifer, Abaddon the accuser, Beelzebub the deceiver, the bringer of darkness, and the conjurer of bad things. Honestly, the titles changed so many times that I can't keep track anymore. But yes, I was, for all intents and purposes, the devil.
Are you having a laugh? I ask. He shakes his head.
Not at all. Here, I can prove it.
He reaches into his coat pocket and pulls out a red and black business card that, sure enough, read, The Devil. Located at any crossroads when the hour strikes midnight. Then, beneath that in very small letters, offer not valid during the Feast of Souls or on Boxing Day. Well, that settles it then, doesn't it? I say, handing the card back to him. He waves me off and tells me to keep it.
You never know when you might need to sell your soul for something. I can still do the occasional deal in my twilight years.
And what is the going rate for the average soul these days? I wonder, indulging the old man.
Better than what the pound goes for, I'll tell you that much.
I noticed that he's halfway through the bottle now, which is strange because I only remember him having the 2 glasses. If he were drunk, he didn't show it. Good money then, being the devil? I ask as I slip the card into my trouser pocket.
Oh, there's loads of it. Tobacco sales, oil refineries, conflict diamonds, door-to-door salesmen. You name it, there's oodles of cash out there, all for the taking. Boy, I knew how to take.
He pauses then, as if suddenly remembering why he was there.
And now it's all gone. Done and over with. Forever.
Well, there's still big tobacco and oil companies and all that. Are you saying they're all just going to stop now that you retired? The old man shook his head.
They're all run by the horsemen. They're all growing bigger and faster without me in the way.
Horsemen?
You know, horsemen of the apocalypse, Book of Revelations.
Sorry, I'm not much for reading. The old man shrugs, then threw back his tumbler, quickly pouring himself another. Well, if business is so good, why retire at all, I ask.
Well, it's you, isn't it? Human beings. You all find a way to fix anything and everything that I can stir up. What with your clean energy bills and your ethical trade laws, what have you. Or you think of something far more horrible than anything I can think of, like Ted Bundy or ATM transaction fees. I can't keep up anymore.
I didn't say anything then. Another part of being a good bartender is knowing when to stay silent.
I'll tell you what it's like. It's like being a symphony composer in the 1700s. You can practice and practice all you like, but all anyone is ever going to talk about is Mozart.
I have no idea what you're talking about, mate, I said. But he isn't looking at me anymore. Instead, he's looking down into his drink, as if the answers to all his problems were at the bottom. Then, for the briefest of moments, I saw him for what he really was. A sad old man who'd seen the future become history before his eyes and failed to grab on as it sailed past. He was alone, with no one to share a retirement party with besides a middle-aged landlord with no O-levels. I almost felt sorry for him.
I mean, it's not like I didn't try to adapt to these new, confounded technological times. I invented buffering for internet videos for Antichrist's sake. I made sure there was at least one crying baby on every cross-country flight. Hell, I even came up with the shopping cart that always has a busted wheel.
Oh, that was you, I chuckle. Anything else you want to put on the old CV? It comes out harsher than I meant. He sat there, and for a moment I think I've offended him. But then he said,
You know, sometimes your phone doesn't get a signal even when you're in the middle of the city?
Yeah, and he told me I was welcome. He finishes his latest glass, then patiently filled it back up.
So I tried, I really did. But you lot are too adaptive, too persevering. Every time I try to unleash some new terrible inconvenience upon the world, you have to go and think of a way to make life that much more tolerable. I create pop-up ads, you invent spam blockers. I bring up the wait times at Disneyland, you come up with FastPass. I make TV commercials twice as long, you invent TiVo. I mean, what's the point of doing anything anymore if some punk from MIT or Oxford is going to come along and fix it? God, I hate Oxford.
Yeah, I'm more of a Cambridge man myself. He didn't laugh. So, what are you going to do now with your newly acquired retirement? He sighs then, in the way that an old dog sighs on a hot summer's day.
I suppose I'll find some way to keep myself busy. Sure, I'll do the occasional possession every now and then, but that's mostly just to keep up with appearances. Corrupting members of the clergy is always fun, but that takes ages. Not like politicians. But then, that's like shooting fish in a barrel. No, I just think I might turn into the skid and head over to Florida. I heard they have really nice condos now. Of course, property taxes are through the roof, so to speak. Thieving bastards.
What, you telling me the devil hates taxes?
I mean, I know I'm the devil and all, but that's just plain evil, isn't it?
He picks up the now nearly empty bottle, swirls the last remaining drops, and tells me to get another glass. Since there's a guaranteed spot in hell for those who waste expensive scotch, I oblige. What shall we toast to? I ask, extending my arm towards him. He ponders this, until eventually he says,
Two people, the cause of and the correction to all of your own problems from now on.
our tumblers clink and the scotch burns all the way down in the way that a good scotch should. I try to remember the last time I had Johnnie Walker Blue. Before I can come up with an answer, the old man, seemingly defeated by the brave new world of neon and LED, shifts himself off the stool. He brushes some imaginary lint from his shoulder, and a cracker of an idea pops into my head. Why don't you work here? I ask. He looks at me with wrinkled eyebrows.
What kind of work you talking about?
Nothing too strenuous, I tell him. Kitchen work mostly. Maybe the occasional drink pouring when I'm busy. My last fry cook up and left me about a month ago. Didn't even take his last week's pay. Just poof, gone. It's been a bit of a toss-up since. You up for it? He stands there, so shocked and angry that you think I just told him his mum was the best shag of my life. He says a bit more dramatically than I think he meant to.
Am the Dark Lord of creation. I am the shadow that mirrors the sanctity of life. I tarnish the souls of the innocent and claim them for a kingdom which I rule absolute. I have waged war against the Creator and crashed into the gates of paradise. I questioned ineffability and tore the plains of purgatory asunder. I am the harbinger of calamity and the reckoner of the apocalypse. I am evil incarnate. I am the devil.
Yeah, I say. But how are you frying up chips?
I mean, I've never, well, how hard could it be?
Smart fella like yourself, I bet you pick it up in no time. He stops to ponder the offer, fiddling with the zipper on the end of his bomber jacket.
When would I have to start?
I hear him ask, almost sheepishly. You can start right now if you like. I motion in a general direction around the Eden. Still got mouths to water and bellies to fill. If you're not too busy, of course. There's a pause in the air as the old man takes one final moment to make up his mind, but I already know his answer and throw him an apron. Come on, I tell him. I'll show you how everything works round back.